got 2 shots of espresso that we just pulled. I'm gonna start by throwing that into a mixing glass full of ice because this is a cold drink and we want it to be well chilled. I'm also gonna add a couple of different things. So first is some simple syrup. So for 2 double shots of espresso, I'm only going to add 1 ounce of simple syrup. And this is a rich Demerara syrup, so it's a little bit sweeter. Definitely something you want to kind of add to taste. I'm also going to add about 10 drops of this, which is Luxardo maraschino liqueur with actual cherries macerated in it. So it's going to have a little bit more amped up cherry flavor. Add 3 dashes of Angostura bitters. And then 4 dashes of orange bitters. This one's a little bit dribbly, but it tastes delicious anyway. So then we're just gonna give that guy a stir. We're gonna mix it up quite a bit. We're gonna want it to chill a fair bit, for sure. And I'm not too worried about dilution, because I mean, 2 double shots of espresso is a pretty strong drink. I can stand to dilute that a little bit as this is chilling. So I'm not too worried about having like a ton of ice in here. My cubes are also a little bit small. They're ice machine coffee, or ice cubes rather. I'm just kind of feeling my mixing glass to find that point where it feels well chilled. Almost there. We can even let that sit for a second as well. So I have my whipping siphon. It's opened up. You'll notice that I have one of these injector tips on it. This is a 3mm injector tip, but actually the opening is only about 2mm. This is a little bit important because when I charge this up with nitrogen and I dispense it, this restricts somewhat how large the bubbles can be. Ideally, I would have like a stout faucet spout on the tip. And there are actually a couple of products that have that these days. I don't own one personally, so I'm just using this tip as kind of a light measure. The problem is if you use too large of an opening, you're going to get very large bubbles when it's dispensed. So I'm using the smallest opening I have at my disposal to limit how large the bubbles are as they're dispensed out. This guy is pretty well chilled. I'm going to double strain it. So I have my standard strainer. I'm going to use a fine mesh strainer as well to load it into my siphon. That's mainly to catch any errant like ice cubes or little bits of cherry from that maceration. I just don't want them in the siphon as it's pressurized. Mainly because they could clog up the nozzle as it's being dispensed, but also it can inhibit foam, which is kind of interesting. So this is actually a nitrogen gas charger. This is 2 grams of plain nitrogen gas, the same standard sort of capsule size as a nitrous oxide charger. These are still pretty rare in the market, but I think there's more and more interest, so they should be more easy to find coming up. So it's pretty nice to have those at your disposal. So we're just going to invert the siphon so the bubbles go through the liquid, and then we're just going to shake it up. And we'll have to let it sit for about 5 minutes to condition, but some gentle shaking is in order to kind of get all the gas mixed in with the liquid and help it start dissolving in dissolution. All right, we're back. I haven't actually been shaking this for 5 minutes, but it has rested. Hopefully a bunch of gas is dissolved into solution. You do want to give it a little bit of time because you want the gas to dissolve into the liquid, so then when you actually dispense it out, it creates the bubbles and actually creates a foam on the drink. So I've got my glass, I'm ready to dispense. All I'm going to do is turn my siphon right upside down and just start going right into the glass. And good color so far. We have kind of like an amber, kind of opaque color to the liquid, which means that there are bubbles, much like a Guinness or Stout or what have you. And I'm only going to do about 3/4 of the way to this top of this glass, because this is supposed to be 2 servings. So you see I got some coarser bubbles on the top, and again that's probably because the opening on my spout is actually still a little bit too large. They will actually break up, and you will notice as well It might be hard to see on the camera, but you'll notice as well that a lot of the bubbles that are causing that cloudiness are coming up to the top and they're going to create a head. So once that's formed a little bit, I'm actually going to garnish with an orange peel, just like a traditional old fashioned. I cut myself a little slice, I give it a little spritz. I'm going to wipe the rim of the glass, get a lot of those oils all over the rim. It's going to help it kind of have that essence of orange nice and vibrant in the drink. I am still going to wait though. I'll garnish with this piece of orange zest, but I want to wait until there's a little bit of a head on top so that it will float nicely and make for a better presentation. So here we are. Got our little Nitro Espresso Old Fashioned. Delicious. Oh, that's great. Awesome. Thanks for watching.